In this video I'm going to give you a brief overview of the interface of Revit. As you can see from this window, the Autodesk Revit interface is designed for intuitive and efficient access to commands and views. It includes the ribbon, quick access toolbar, application menu, navigation bar and status bar, which are common to most of the Autodesk software. It also includes tools that are specific to Autodesk Revit software, including the Properties palette, Project Browser and View Control. As we can see from here, I'll just give you a quick view on what items are which, and then I'll go through them in a little bit more detail. So if we start up at the top here, this is the quick access toolbar. This very thin line, top line, all the way across there. Then we have down here is the status bar, where it's got the word ready in, and anything along this bottom line. The application menu is this item here from the file. We've got the main ribbon, which is these large icons across the top. We have an options bar, which is currently greyed out at the moment, nothing shown there. This will change as we go through, and I'll explain and point out what happens in this particular area. This area here is the Properties palette. This area below it is the Project Browser. This main white space here is the View window. Over on the right hand side are the navigation controls. And then 10 is this little thin line along the bottom here. This is the View control bar. Okay, so if we go back up and start off with the quick access toolbar, these items here. This includes commonly used commands such as open, save, undo and redo, dimension and 3D view. If you right click on the quick access toolbar, you'll be able to change items, remove it from the quick access toolbar, add a separator such as this little line here between print and the measure, customize your toolbar, or you can actually show the quick access toolbar below the ribbon. The quick access toolbar also has a search for field, and that's located here behind this arrow. To save space, you can collapse it or uncollapse it accordingly. This bottom bar here, the status bar, this provides information about the current process, such as the next step for a command. And it gives you a couple of examples shown there. Click to select, tab for alternatives, etc. Other options in the status bar, such as this item here, relate to work sets and design options. They're more for the advanced tools. The application bar, when we first open it, you can see some recently used documents which we can pin to make sure that they stay there, so as we're not having to go searching for them all the time. If we hover our cursor over these main icons, you can see other application menus, other commands that pop up. So there are additional tools that you can use. The main ribbon here. This main ribbon contains tools in a series of tabs, which are these tabs: architecture, structure, steel, etc. And clicking on these, you can see that the main ribbon changes. The main MEP systems are here listed under the Systems tab. If we were to click on an item, such as what I've just done there, which was the mechanical equipment, you can see that the tab has now changed to show a contextual tab. So as well as the properties are changing for our selection, it's also asking us other information of what we want to do. Click Modify on the left here to escape. Another way to describe this contextual tab is it gives you basically general editing commands of what you want to do with that specific tool. If we keep our cursor on these icons, you can see that we'll get a pop-up the name copy in this example with CO at the end. That's the keyboard shortcut for doing that particular item. Instead of having to go to the ribbon to use that command, we can use the keyboard shortcut CO in this case. A few moments ago I mentioned about that we've got an options bar that's here, that's currently greyed out. If we were to quickly draw a line, an example, as you can see we've got options show up now in this line here. Disappear because I'm out of the command, but as soon as I click on the item and try and do something with it, we get these additional options for what we want to do with that particular element that we've clicked, such as disjoin it, copy it, angle it in this instance. Change the location of where we want the rotation. We can manually maneuver it from one end to the other or in the center. And then we can either use the angle to actually type in the degrees that we want, such as 45 degrees, or we can use the graphical base and do exactly the same. Now with the properties palette, if we go in and click and, for example, try and place an item, in this case an electrical item, you can see here that what's displayed, the properties palette includes the type selector, which is this area here, where we would click on this to choose the different types of that particular element. We have a filter drop down. Here we'll gain access to the type properties, whereas these elements here are the instance properties. Now what that means is that the type properties, whatever we change in this type properties, will affect all of these particular items that you've got in the whole project. So for example, if we position this item more than once and we've got it 5 times within the project, and we come along and we change the dimension of this particular board in the type properties, then all of those 5 items within the project will all change exactly the same. If we want the board to be at different heights in different locations, then we would change the instant properties, which will only affect that particular item in that one place, not the remaining 4 other items in this example. These palettes, this one, project browser, etc., we can place these on a second monitor, or we can have them floating around, resize it, scale it and dock it on the top or the sides, but I find it just easy just to keep them here on the left hand side. In the older Revit days, these couldn't have been put off the screen on a different screen. It had to be within Revit, but that's now changed with this version. The project browser. This lists the views that can be opened in the project. This includes all the views in the model that you're working, plus any additional views that you create, such as floor plans, ceiling plans, 3D views, elevations, sections, etc. It also includes views such as schedules, legends, sheets, etc. To open a view, obviously we'll need to expand the plus signs that are next to them, and then we just double click on an item to take us to that particular view. If you're wondering why I'm right clicking and clicking zoom to view, is if this particular floor plan is, for example, on this side of a building, it could be down here at the corner, and another floor plan such as this one, this could be located all the way over at this part of the building. So when you click on the particular view, and you might find that you've got a blank screen like this, just right click and zoom to fit, and then that way you can it will come straight to it, because what's probably happening is you are actually viewing in this position here of the last item you looked at, and now you're looking at something on the other side of the building. If you want to contract these views, you just click on the minus to minimize space, so you're not having to search through everything. To search for something in the browser, all you need to do is go up to this top item here, views, and right click and then click on search, and then put in what it is you want to look for, and it will go through and it will find the items and click on it. And if you keep on clicking next, as you can see over here, it's opening up the different elements, such as in this case legends, and then found something that had the item that you've just asked it to search for. Click on next and it moves along, and it will keep going, or go previously. These views here that we've got here, these are discipline specific. So in this instance you can see here that when we look in the properties portion, the discipline shows as electrical, where if we look at the mechanical floor plan, you can see the disciplines change to mechanical, and that's how it separates the items. This view window is the area where you do all your work. Each view you've got control using the view control bar, such as the scale. It's probably easy to look at the electrical one for this. Because that's easy enough, because that's got the annotation on and you can see how things change. The modelled items don't change, they're still always at the correct scale. This is more to do with the annotation, but we can look at the detail level, or even the graphics. When we're looking at 3D items as well, such as this, we'll use more of these commands here for the navigation through, such as using the cube and grabbing it around. Or if you're doing that, it will pick the center of the project. If you want to rotate around a specific item, click on that particular item and then use your wheel and the shift to rotate around that particular item when you're looking in a 3D view. And then we have the navigation bar here, where we can look at zoom in region, zoom out, zoom to fit, etc. The wheel here, again, this is more for when you're looking in a 3D view, such as camera angle and walking through the buildings. But it still applies in these items here. And then finally, this view control bar. This is where we, again, as I've mentioned about the scale and the level of detail, we can also look at shadowing and some paths, and also items that we want to filter out and hide.